What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Leon. So back here again for another video with today we got a video by Cosmic Wonder. This one is called Spider-Man No Way Home Miles Morales debut rumor breakdown. So apparently there's been a rumor going around that Miles Morales is going to debut in this film. That'd be crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Wasn't there a rumor like in Far From Home that there was a kid who was casted who was playing like Miles Morales, if I'm not mistaken? You guys remember that? I remember that was a while ago. It was like a kid, and they thought like, I don't know. Anyways, that'd be interesting. This turns out to be true. Let's see what Warren has to say. But before we get into it, man, y'all like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know down below, how was your day, bro? You know what I'm saying? How was your day? You can let me know in the comments, or you can talk to me right now. What? No way. Hopefully this makes it a little bit better. With that being said, let's get to it, man. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder.
What's up,
we talk
my guy?
Marvel and MCU and multiverse, and I'm not sure if I told you all yet, but I am pretty excited for Spider-Man No Way Home, I guess. I didn't cry during the trailer or anything.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that basically like confirms freaking everything. Like everything. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
But really,
Oh man, I was on the precipice of crying too,
I
Warren.
think everybody
It's all right,
is
man.
just super excited for this movie now. I don't think the hype is going to stop until we actually get the movie, and then probably for some time after that as well. And even if the other two Spider-Man, Tobey and Andrew, don't actually appear, but they will, fans would still be excited.
But they
just
will.
at the fact that the Green Goblin's returning, Doc Ock is returning, Electro, Sandman, Lizard. It's all just completely insane on its own. Then you add the other two Spider-Man in it, and it's just bonkers. But today, I want to talk about a little rumor that could just take it over the top, and I do stress that right now this is just a rumor. It's not confirmed by anybody. But the rumor is that Miles Morales could possibly show up in Spider-Man No Way Home. And if you take a look at some things that have already happened within the MCU, it actually makes a ton of sense, and there's actually a
Aaron Davis is actually already in the MCU. Childish Gambino played him in the first Spider-Man movie.
bunch of different ways that they could introduce
Spider-Man
Miles in
Homecoming.
No Way Home. So I'm going to break down this rumor, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it after, because I do have some thoughts. And of course, if you love Marvel and want to stay up to date with Spider-Man and the MCU, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. So like I said, the rumor is that Miles Morales will show up in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, this doesn't clarify whether he's just going to be Miles or if he's actually going to be Miles as Spider-Man. This is kind of like the reports that Matt Murdock is going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home,
and it was
but
just
Daredevil's not. Just Matt Murdock. Just him as a lawyer. And it could be the same case here. It could just be Miles Morales and not him as Spider-Man. Now, I know there are some people right now that are probably saying, well, that's too many Spider-Men to have.
That is a lot.
Movie. And I hear you, but two things here. One,
Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep. Pretty dang well. And yes, it was an animated film, but I actually think seeing that on screen, seeing all of the different Spider-Men on.
Hey, was that Jaden Smith? You guys fan cast Jaden Smith as Miles Morales? He's older than Tom Holland, isn't he? I don't know if he could do it by now. I should have muted that. I don't know why. I just
screen and Spider-Woman would be really cool. And two, Miles is actually the only other Spider-Man that actually exists in the current universe that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is in.
Right.
The other two Spider-Man have to come from different universes through the multiverse. If you don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, and Aaron Davis did directly mention his nephew. So yeah, okay, yeah. You're right.
Mind. Remember Aaron Davis, aka the Prowler from Spider-Man Homecoming? Childish Gambino popped up and everybody was super freaking out about it because it was super cool. And then he even said, I have a nephew that lives around here. So the uncle of Miles Morales mentioned his nephew, which has to be Miles Morales. You don't have the Prowler in an actual Spider-Man film for him to mention his nephew, who is not Miles. So therefore,
that's a good point.
Miles already exists in the main MCU timeline, the same one that right now our Tom Holland's Peter Parker exists in. So if anything, the other Spider-Men are actually kind of taking his glory and spotlight. But now we actually get more pointed to Miles Morales' appearance with the Spider-Man No Way Home teaser trailer. One eagle-eyed fan in the trailer spotted Feast. Feast is a famous homeless shelter in the Marvel Comics. And it looks like we do see Spider-Man, Peter Parker, running through Feast, this homeless shelter, in the teaser trailer. And ironically enough, in this shot, he is wearing a black suit, which resembles Miles' suit. Just instead of gold, like Peter's wearing, Miles has red. Perhaps if this rumor does end up being a reality, maybe Peter gives his suit to Miles, and Miles could change the gold to red. Now we have actually
that's
seen
a good
other
theory.
leaked photos with Feast trucks in them. Now, why is Feast, this homeless shelter, such a big deal? And
It was
how
in
is
the
it
Miles
related to
Morales game
Miles?
too,
Well,
wasn't it?
for starters, Feast in the comics is where Aunt May works. Feast was created, owned, and operated by Martin Lee, in which
Right.
he recruited Aunt May to come
Negative
work for
Man
him.
or something like that,
Cool.
right?
Good for him. But somebody who volunteers there is Miles. Miles Morales is an active volunteer at the homeless shelter Feast. And if everybody is about to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man thanks to Doctor Strange's spell, perhaps Peter could get a job at Feast with his Aunt May. And the next thing you know, who is he meeting?
Miles Morales.
So you can see all of the connections
That's a good
of this
point.
rumor/theory. Miles already exists in the MCU. He is there. They showed his uncle mentioned his nephew, which is Miles. Miles volunteers at Feast. Feast has been established. We saw the leaked photos before, and in the trailer we see the sign for Feast. And we see Peter Parker run through Feast without his mask on. And since he's wearing the black suit, it seems like this is probably after Doctor Strange does his spell. So
I
there's a
didn't even
possibility
notice that
Peter
he didn't
could
have
meet
his mask.
Miles
I didn't think
after
about
Doctor
that.
Strange does his spell to where Miles wouldn't know that he's Spider-Man. That would kind of suck because we want Miles to know that Peter is Spider-Man. However, since we see him running through Feast with his mask off, that's the perfect opportunity, if Miles is around, to see and know that Peter is indeed Spider-Man. And
Interesting.
hopefully, if Peter is indeed working or at least volunteering at Feast and Miles is too, hopefully the two of them become buds, and hopefully Peter is somewhat
Become
mentoring
buds.
Miles. Because there could be
Yo,
a
it said
way
Nude
in
Master. You
Spider-Man
guys
No
saw
Way
that?
Home for the mantle of Spider-Man in this universe to kind of go over to Miles. There is a possibility that that's what our Peter Parker wants. MJ is a very important person in his life right now, and as we know, Spider-Man at some points just wants to have a normal life. However, with great power comes great responsibility. And side note, if we don't hear that from Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man No Way Home, I mean, just huge missed opportunity. But if Miles does indeed
It's gonna happen,
get
bro, I
introduced
promise.
in No Way Home, that means they are definitely setting him up to have somewhat of a future. If not, that would be another absolute waste to introduce him and not do anything with him, which I really, really don't think they'd do. So
Right,
there are a
nah.
couple of options for him to be set up for the future. One option is that perhaps by the end of this film, everybody still doesn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. This
Good
could
point.
give Peter, like I said, an opportunity to have a normal life. And after having a very big multiversal run-in with other villains from other different universes, perhaps our Peter may want a little bit of a break. And if that is the case, that would make Miles the perfect candidate to take on the mantle. This would also
I don't know.
give
It
Peter
just seems a
Parker the
little early.
opportunity to
I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Like, at least this theory. Like, do you guys feel like it's a little early on yet? You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. Tom's Spider-Man, given what we introduced to him in Civil War, I still feel like he's kind of new. And it's crazy to say that considering his third movie is coming out. Maybe I'll feel differently after the movie. I watched the movie, but it just his Spider-Man still feels relatively new to the MCU. You know what I'm saying? Like he isn't fully developed yet. But then again, he's also still in high school and so much other stuff.
be
So, you know what I'm saying?
somewhat of a mentor to him. Because even if Miles took on the mantle, Peter isn't going anywhere. He's still
Yeah.
always going to be Spider-Man, and there are definitely going to be times where Miles is going to need help, in which I'm sure Peter would gladly step back in, as long as it wasn't revealed that Peter Parker is actually Spider-Man. But I personally don't hope this happens. I hope that Miles becomes a Spider-Man, but besides Peter Parker, next to him. Yes, I know
Yeah,
Peter
that makes
is
more
going off
sense.
into the college years, which is something we really haven't seen before, but I actually want to see that. I would love to see Peter Parker try to go through college and handle being Spider-Man at the same time. Meanwhile, mentoring another young Spider-Man, Miles. And in a way, I kind of think the Spider-Man franchise needs this. Yes, Sony has their own Spider-Man universe, and yes, they did rename the SPUMC, the Sony Picture Universe of Marvel characters. Thank goodness they renamed this. They have apparently
SPUMC.
changed it now to Sony's Spider-Man universe. That's very specific, so clearly Sony has plans to
SSU?
introduce Spider-Man
That's
into
easy.
Venom,
MCU, SSU.
Morbius, Spider-Woman, Kraven, whatever they have coming up in the future. But Spider-Man
Aaron,
has to
Taylor
remain in
Johnson,
the MCU
right?
as well, and I
Kraven.
don't think these other characters are going to be crossing over into the MCU. And when you have a movie like Spider-Man No Way Home with all of these villains and other Spider-Men in the movie, you have to figure out a way to make it really exciting still
Right.
moving forward after the film. film. Because
Exactly.
if I had any concern at all for Spider-Man No Way Home, it's that they're not really going to be able to top this moving forward. Now, Kevin Feige and the people over at Marvel Studios are geniuses, so I have no doubt that they can, but still there is a concern of how. And
It's
I
like
think
how people felt
permanently
after
having two
Endgame.
Spider-Man in the MCU, Peter Parker and Miles, would be really cool. Peter in his college years and Miles in his high school years. And I really do hope that something like this gets set up. Now, if this rumor does end up being true, I don't think Miles should make his web-slinging debut during this movie. He wouldn't get enough spotlight. That should be the movie after this movie, because I do think that would drive a lot of the hype again. Should he be set up in this movie? Should his character be introduced? Absolutely. I think they really should do that, but I think 3 Spider-Men is enough for now. But don't get me wrong, if they put more in, I'm gonna absolutely freak out and love it the entire time.
Exactly.
But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you think they should introduce Miles as himself or as Spider-Man? Is that too much? Let me know down below. And don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all things relating to Spider-Man. Don't forget to like the video, and for live updates, of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
Alright, so here's my thing. If they introduce Miles as Spider-Man, if they were to do it, the only way I think that'd be plausible or make any sense is if he's from a different universe. I mean, a different multiverse or whatever. Like, he's from a different multiverse where he's just becoming Spider-Man or whatever, or he's still early on being Spider-Man. Then I think that would make a lot more sense than like just like Spider-Man. Then Miles is like living in the main MCU and just popping up like, oh, I'm also a Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be the only way I think it would work. Otherwise, I would rather them, you know what I'm saying, introduce his character, Miles. Maybe there's like a little nod or reference to him in Feast, and like I was like, oh, Peter's like walking, and he's like, hey, did Miles show up today? You know what I'm saying? Or someone's like, hey, you got a new guy, train this guy named Miles. You know what I'm saying? Do something like that. I think that'd be really cool. But anyways, how do you guys feel about this rumor, these news, this? They don't need to introduce Miles in this movie, but if they do, I'm just gonna like the movie more. I don't really have any complaints. Y'all let me know down below in the comments how y'all felt about that, man. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me on Twitch. Actually, no, I think it's down here. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram. Leroy Says So, same as YouTube channel there. You can send me stuff to react to. That being said, peace.